And we are live. Hey guys, welcome back to Critical African Thinkers. As you know, this is a place where we examine everything under the microscope of logic to ascertain what is most factual and logically consistent. So, today's show, we're going to be talking about a couple of things, amongst which would be Larry Elder's interview, um, recent interview when he was asked the question, what have you done about the fatherlessness problem? That's probably going to be the biggest conversation we're going to have. We're also going to be talking about famous chat GPT, right? What's his name? Vivek Ramaswamy, the Indian American guy running for president, right? We're going to be talking about his ridiculous proposal to just invade Mexico if Mexico doesn't get shit done. Well, I'll just invade Mexico, right? Because that's how things are done. That's how the US does things. If things don't go their way, you just simply invade the country and get your way by force. And that has really, really worked out very well. Worked out very well in Afghanistan, worked out very well in Iraq, worked out very well in Vietnam, worked out very well in Korea, worked out very well everywhere the US goes and just blows shit up, right? And then I think the first one, which we're going to be talking about, is what's happening at the border, the US border, right? Where people are just trooping into the US as though there's something chasing them from, from their own country, which is very surprising to me. Very, very surprising to me that that is happening, right? What are the border guards doing? Is it that like it's open season to just come into the US? Is it that there's nothing stopping anybody from coming into the US? What's really happening? Why now? Why is this crossing so important at this point in time? Right. So maybe I'll just play a clip to just get an idea as to what the hell is going on. Oh, I don't have that clip here. But although I've seen a couple of clips of people just trooping into the US from the southern border, and you guys Americans, maybe you can help me answer that question. You can tell me what the hell is going on in Mexico. I think these people are coming in from Mexico. I don't think they're all Mexicans, right? Black laptop hustler, how you doing? Harry, how you doing? I don't think they're all Mexicans. I think there are people from many parts of the world, and I think a substantial proportion of them might be Mexicans. But what the hell is going on? Why is the Biden administration not doing anything to stop people coming into the US illegally? I mean, there's a reason why countries have borders to begin with, is to protect their territorial integrity. So if anybody can just walk into a country, why have borders to begin with? So All right. Yep. Sorry. Welcome back to the conversation. I don't know, my network just went off. I don't know what the hell is happening. Probably do not want me to talk about this thing today. Let me see. Oh, you guys are still here. Good. No, the stream hasn't ended. Stanley, Harry, Black Laptop Hustler. Yeah, Harry saying, "What the fuck happened?" Black Laptop Hustler say, "What a shame. I was looking forward to yet another intellectual masterpiece." Um, so so what happened? Network happened, but I'm back anyway. Where was I? What was I saying? Let's get back to the conversation. Let's get back to the discussion. So the conversation was surrounding the borders, right? What's happening in the borders? What's happening in Mexico? What's happening in the U.S. southern U.S. border? That people are just fleeing their countries. Why are people fleeing their countries into the US, and why isn't the US government doing anything about it? And I also saw somewhere that the government, I think in California, they are planning, they have like one ridiculous amount of money that they are planning on using to save as accommodation for these immigrants coming into the US. And it's surprising to me. It's surprising to me that um, a country would say that, oh, we don't have enough money for certain things like welfare programs for people within the country itself. We don't have money for things like contentious things like reparations, but we do have money to send to places like Ukraine for them to fight their wars. We do have money to take care of illegal migrants that come to the country. We do have money for all that stuff, but we don't have money for the people themselves. I understand that it's a humane thing to do when there is conflict in a neighboring country and people are seeking asylum in your country. I think it's a humane thing to do to let people in. But you've got to ask yourself, what the hell is happening in Mexico that's um, you know that's making people flee? What's kind of apocalypse is happening there that's making people just flee and start running into the US in droves, right? And then it seems like the US government is just taking it like, oh, this is normal. Please come in. This is normal. I, for one, do not like the fact that I don't like the fact that I like borders. I like strong borders. I like being able to vet people that come into, for example, my country, because I know we do have issues with people just crossing our borders, right, in Nigeria and coming into the country and causing problems, right? I'm not saying immigrants usually cause problems, but when the borders are porous, then elements that you do not trust can easily come into your country, do damage and just go back out. So think that borders, I think borders are very, very important in a modern state. That your territorial integrity needs to be protected, and people that come in need to be vetted. No, not everyone should just um, not everyone should just be able to come into the country without some sort of process. So maybe you guys can tell me when I open up the stream and call in, you can tell me what the hell is going on, why everyone is being let into the US. In fact, anybody that wants to get to the US now has a better chance of getting in by just going to Mexico first and just crossing over the border into the US. Yeah, so the other conversation I wanted to talk about was about Vivek Ramaswamy, and I'm going to play this clip and then just take it up from there. So let me play the clip. Um, uh, is this clip playing? Oh, I don't know what's happening today, but if you guys can hear me, please let me know what is happening. Can anyone hear me at all? Stanley, can you hear me?
And then I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to have a phone call with Claudia Scheinbaum or whoever it is that wins the next Mexican presidential election. I'm grateful that AMLO is going to be out. Mexico has an election in 2024. Whether it's Scheinbaum or somebody else who wins that election, I'm going to reset the relationship and say, listen up. for a tiny fraction, and it will be a tiny fraction, of what we have already spent in Ukraine, we can help you, Mexico, regain your sovereignty from the Mexican drug cartels who are spilling over into our own homeland here. But if you don't do it, then we will come in and get the job done ourselves. Because the fact of the matter is, it's like if you have a neighbor who has a dog that comes over to your yard and keeps biting your family members repeatedly. If they keep repeatedly doing that, at some point you can take a shotgun and shoot that dog. That's legitimate, legal, morally, ethically justified. And I think the same thing applies to a country to our south that has lost its sovereignty to the Mexican drug cartels, and we're going to have to defend ourselves if necessary.
Well, the going after the dog that crosses the line, in military terms, is called hot pursuit. And I think that's what you're describing. I think.
Okay, so I'm not a military person, right? I'm not a military person, but I don't think you can just cross into your neighbor's house to shoot his dog if his dog has been disturbing you when his dog is not outside. I don't think, how does that work? Does that happen in the US? Can you cross into your neighbor's compound, cross into his house, into his living room, into his bedroom, and then shoot his dog because his dog has been a menace to you? I don't think that's how it works. Chat GPT. No, the thing with this guy Vivek is he just comes with all this smugness. He comes with the arrogance, and he takes all the talking points of the conservative right wing talking points, and then he just adds his own layer of bullshit to it. I don't think Mexico is the US's problem. I don't think Mexico is the US's is the biggest problem to the US right now. I don't think so. I think the US has bigger problems than Mexico. So invading Mexico is not going to do anything for them. Invading Mexico is not going to. Let's take the border crisis for example, right? Is that Mexico's fault? Is it Mexico's fault that people are trooping into the US? I don't think so. It's the fact that the people at the border, those who are supposed to secure the border, are not doing what they're supposed to do. If drugs and weapons are pouring into the US, it's because people in the US are not doing what they're supposed to do. Those who are tasked with securing the border, making sure those things don't come in, they're not doing their jobs. So how can you put that blame on some other country, right? And then you're saying you're going to give them an ultimatum if they don't, if they don't fix this problem, you're going to come in, invade their country, and help them fix it. Just look at the sort of hubris it takes to make that kind of statements, the sort of childish hubris. Like you can just do whatever you want. And I mentioned earlier, where has the US ever gone to and left the place in a better condition than when they got in there? Vietnam was a mess, you know, Afghanistan was a mess, Libya a mess, Iraq a mess, Iran a mess. So this idea that force is what you need to solve everything, you just go and show blow stuff up, and you're just going to get things done. It's so childish, and it's not something that any serious politician in this age should even be thinking about, should even be thinking of, oh, this is a serious policy proposal, right? I don't think I've seen from any of these Republican candidates, I don't think I've seen policy issues. DeSantis is about fighting wokeness, whatever that is. Chat GPT and Larry Elder are about putting up the black community and saying fatherlessness this, fatherlessness that. And these things to me are not policy proposals. What are you going to do for the economy, right? What are you going to do for insecurity? What are you going to do about the border? What are you going to do about so many other things? I didn't watch the debate I think last night. I didn't watch it. on, but my network is acting really, 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 really bad. So just bear with me. If I go out and come back in again. They say this stream is going down faster than a trans sailor. What are you trying to say? That trans sailors can't swim? I think they can swim, right? Stanley saying Vivek reminds me of you, Blacktop. How so? How so? Anyway, um, forgive my going in and out. So, what point was I trying to make? Where was I? I was saying something about okay, what exactly the US has achieved with its military forays and intervention in different countries, right? And I don't think much. I don't think you can just go up and blow up things and think you're getting any result from that. So, but that aside, let's talk about Larry Elder. I'll play the clip and then I'll just give my thoughts on it. Hopefully, I don't get to go out again. Hopefully, this network doesn't mess me up again. So let's go. Probably have to do another show tomorrow. Probably have to, but um, let's get on with what we can do. So let me play that clip by Larry Elder. Yep.
You're talking about that there's this epidemic in the Black community of fatherlessness. What have you done to combat fatherlessness in the Black community?
Okay, so you're accepting that we have an issue with fatherlessness in the Black community. You're accepting that, I assume.
I'm not. You said that.
I didn't think so. So you're not accepting it, and you're asking me, what am I doing about something that you don't accept?
No, you're my question is clear as day. Is that have you not done anything to combat fatherlessness?
You just now acknowledged, in your opinion, that what I just now said isn't even a problem.
Larry, please answer. What have you done to combat fatherlessness?
I'm waiting for Rachel to answer my question. Then I'll respond.
I've already answered that question.
So you want me to respond to a problem to answer?
No, Larry,
it's your campaign, Larry. Larry, this is your campaign. Your campaign is about fatherlessness. I'm giving you the floor to talk about how you have combat fatherlessness because you say it is such an issue in this country, and you don't want to answer the question.
I'm happy to answer the question, provided that you acknowledge that there is a problem.
Larry, get the fuck out of here.
Good Lord. Yeah. So Black Laptop said this is clipped. Where's the question before the clip started? Well, I didn't get the question before the clip started, right? But this clip itself, which may not give us the full context, just reveals certain things to me. First of all, it reveals to me that the interviewers are not serious, and it also reveals that Larry is not a serious person, right? If I was the interviewer, right, even if I don't agree with his premise, if I don't agree with his statement, right, for the sake of the conversation, to just have the conversation moving forward, I'd say, okay, yeah, I agree, I accept this is a problem, fatherlessness is a problem, so answer the damn question. But they were not ready to push. They were not ready to move an inch. They were not ready to concede that was a problem, and he was being obstinate too. Number two, Larry Elder has built his political career on fatherlessness. I mean, that's all he talks about. That's all he talks about. Most of the time, when you hear Larry Elder speaking, he's talking about fatherlessness as a problem, especially in the Black community, right? And I'm like, is this guy running to be president of Black America? Or is running to be president of America? Why is this the only issue that he talks about? And for someone who talks about such an issue incessantly, as in talking about it, this should be a pretty simple question for him to answer. And I'm sure there are a couple of things that he has done to combat fatherlessness, whatever it is, whether or not government can do anything to combat it, whether or not anybody can do anything to combat it. I think there are a couple of things. I'm back again for the 100th time. So let me just open up the stream so people can call in. And when I'm gone, the conversation can continue. Right. Don't know what the hell is happening to my network today. Probably ChatGTP doesn't want me to. see anything about it. So, uh, link is up. Stanley, SKC, Black Laptop, Deacon Dave, anybody, come on in, come on in. Oh, so SKC said, what I saw was two people who can't respect each can respect other black people. I don't know what that meant, right? So, like I was saying, back to that interaction between Larry Elder and those people who had that conversation, that interview with him. I suspect, I know that Larry, going into such a conversation, would know that there are certain people, or those people would not be friendly to him. I know that for a fact. So he should be prepared for such kinds of questions, right? So for him to go there and feign like, oh, this is a bad faith question, which some people have said as a defense that, oh, it was a bad faith question, so he was in order to answer it in that way. But bad faith questions are questions anyway, and they should be answered, right? They should be answered. Just like when Ketanji Brown Jackson was asked, what is a woman? That was a bad faith question, right? Because, who asks such a silly question? Everybody knows what a woman is. And then she gave her classic response, and people are like up in arms, oh, this. But I don't see any difference between the way Larry Elder answered that question and the way Ketanji Brown answered her own question. Both were obviously ridiculous, right? So if someone asks you a bad faith question, it doesn't invalidate the question. The question is still valid. Yeah, their motivations might be they want to do a gotcha, but what does it matter if by the end of the day you're trying to get the truth out? You're trying to pass a message across. This is your stick. This is your shtick. Fatherlessness, fatherlessness, fatherlessness. That's all you say. And I keep asking myself, what exactly can politicians do about fatherlessness? How can politicians cure fatherlessness? What policy proposals can be put in place? And if there's something that can be done about it, why haven't previous Republican administrations done anything about it? Why wait this long? Why why wait till this problem becomes an intractable problem? Right? Of course, I think that two parents are always better than one in a household, right? But I think at times that the contribution of the fatherlessness to the problem, I think it's overstated at times. A couple of days ago, we're having a conversation with Wolf, and he made a very, very salient point, right? He said, even if you had a father in their house and you have you live in a bad neighborhood or you have bad neighbors, that's still a problem, right? So even if you have someone has 10 fathers, but you live in a crime infested neighborhood where people have no values, no respect, no, you know, that's still a problem. So you're just solving for a very tiny fraction of the problem, because the truth is parents do not spend 24 hours with their kids. Their kids are just as much to get influenced by other people, by their neighbors, by their teachers, by people in the environment, by TV, by so many other things as the parents are. So I think that even the if you solve the problem of fatherlessness, you're still going to run into issues when the environment that you're living in is it's just a toxic environment. So my advice for parents, mostly, if the environment doesn't work for your kids, move. So anyway, Stanley, SKC, welcome to the conversation. Let's talk. What do you guys think? How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How are you all?
Good, good. SKC.
Peachy.
Oh, you're PT. You're PT. I didn't get that.
Yeah,
Oh, oh,
just peachy. I'm doing well.
you're doing well. Oh, good, good. That's good. So, did you catch my on and off monologue about Chat GPT and Larry Elder and the border crossing? First of all, let's talk about the border crossing. What do you think is going on? Why is the US having this open border policy where everybody's just dropping in, and the government is sort of making provisions for these immigrants coming into the country? What's going on? What's the end game?
Oh, easy. You have a particular group that they need votes.
But people just coming in from Mexico can't obviously vote in the next election or this election. So
Why not?
because they're not Americans, they're not citizens, isn't there a process to vote? Aren't there
Well,
voter ID
it's
laws? Aren't there, you know?
well, all of that will probably curtailed, and when their various IDs are given to them, they'll probably be able to vote as well.
That's interesting. Stanley, what do you think?
Well, it is way more complicated than that. Number one, I think, um, and it's not just the right, but it's creeping into pretty much all parts of the American community. Seeking asylum is literally legal. So, what the right is doing is basically muddying the waters between asylum seekers and illegal immigration. That's number one. Seeking asylum is totally legal. And the better thing is Mexicans already have a way to come into America. They can do legal, like they can get green cards. It's not just Mexicans, and I'm not even sure Mexicans are the biggest problem. There are Russians coming in through the southern border. There are Haitians coming in. Mexico, in and of itself, has a problem with its southern borders. So it's not just like Mexicans are the problem. And it would be it'd be like a 2 hour show just to talk about the history of why there's a southern border problem. And the other thing is there has always been a southern border problem. We've fought Mexican American War. We've had all kinds of wars pretty much before the Louisiana Purchase. Um, there's a whole section, the southwest section. Mexican America, literally, Mexico and the Spanish were in California, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. They were here before America was even America. The United States was even the United States. It's been a problem forever. So I don't understand this whole like it's a sudden problem and it's not just a Mexican problem. Again, um, no, I understand the urge to take complicated problems and make them sound simple. And I understand that people who grow up in Florida are going to take the simple answers and not read or learn or be inquisitive about why the problem exists. But it's not illegal immigration that's the problem. It is way more complicated than
Okay, so Stanley, I've
that.
got
And,
to
and
ask
quite
you.
frankly, Mitt Romney was born in Mexico, for instance. There's a Mormon growing up in Mexico thing. I read an article, and I don't think I sent it to you, Charles, but all of a sudden, American women, most of them white, are going to Mexico for abortions. And the headline was there's immigration or an invasion into Mexico from women seeking abortions. It is
So,
it is a swirl of confusion, and simplifying it is just dumb.
Stanley, you raised a point that, uh, illegal immigration is different from people seeking asylum, and I think you're
Yes,
correct in
well,
that.
they're two separate things.
Yeah, so you're correct. No, but so for people to seek asylum, there has to be a compelling reason for seeking asylum. For example,
Yes.
maybe there's war, maybe they have been persecuted in their country, maybe
Hmm.
there has to be some contingent reasons. People don't just seek asylum for no reason. So, what would be the compelling reason for thousands of people coming in through Mexico seeking asylum? What is the
Well,
compelling
you go
reason
back
for
to
it?
places like Nicaragua, Guatemala, Venezuela, and Colombia. America has dabbled in places like Colombia specifically, fighting a drug war even 20 years ago. Um, Colombia has been a huge problem forever. America has been, um, I don't even know what the word is, but America has been involved in Central America, the Sandinistas, they used to, Cuba, the Caribbean, Central America. America has created a lot of its own problems.
Yeah, but why
Did
now?
you see
Why
the
now?
deathly
Well, I mean, it's
dodging of the
why
question?
now? It's not just now. That's my point. It's been this way for decades.
No, no, it hasn't.
Okay, prove me wrong.
Okay. Name another time in history where this
Dude,
number
let's go back
of
to the Sandinistas.
if
Let's go back
if I
to
could,
Cuba. Let's go
he's
back
trying to
to
answer a question I
Haiti.
haven't even asked.
Dude, dude,
So Stanley,
you
let him
said
finish his
let's
point.
go back. Tell me America has
He's
not
trying to
been.
answer a
Dude,
question that
you're
I
doing a
haven't even
Larry
asked yet.
Elder.
Stanley, let him finish his
America
point.
has been involved in stirring up trouble in Central America and the Caribbean for decades.
No doubt about that. But the question is why now? And please let
It's not
SKC
just
finish his
now.
point.
It's been this way for quite some time. We're making a big stink about it now. It's always been a problem, is my point.
All right, so SKC, please go ahead.
Yeah. What I was stating was is that there's been no other point in history where in this short period of time where millions of people have crossed the border. It has never existed.
So what do you think is going on? Okay, you mentioned earlier that about voting and the rest. Uh, well, do you think it's particularly because of this coming election? Are they so afraid of Trump or the Republican Party that it becomes? Is it as if they just sent out information to people over the border that you can come in now? We're going to let you come in, or what's
Well,
happening?
there was a reason why. Right after the election, the day after the election, you had individuals at the border with Biden attire on, stating that they were coming into the border because that's what they heard from the podium from Biden when he was during the debates, that he would open up the border.
Hmm, interesting.
Those are his literal words. So I don't understand how that's some sort of confusion about that.
Well, the funny thing is the only confusion seems to be with you. Again, um,
Going a bit further,
the
Charles,
Supreme
with the whole
Court,
thing
for
about the
instance, struck down.
go,
Um,
going a little going a little bit further, Charles, with the definition of asylum. It does state that it would be a person who would be unable to return to his or her home country and cannot obtain protection in that country due to past persecution or a founded fear of being persecuted in the future on account of their race, religion, nationality, or member of some sort of social group. The millions and millions and millions of individuals that have crossed the border have been stating up front that they're doing it for financial gain.
Yeah, so
bullshit.
most of them are economic migrants.
Most no, most of them are not
None of
economic
them,
migrants.
none of
No,
them are
sir, they are
making
not.
none of them are making the claim that they are
Dude,
in fear of their lives.
go back and reread what you just read about asylum. If you are being persecuted, It can be government. It can be gangs. It can literally be my husband wants to beat me and my children up. It doesn't specify the type of persecution.
Right.
Again,
And if
immigration
and if
reform.
okay,
Immigration reform.
if
If you
okay,
want to
if you
reform the dude, let me finish. We can change how asylum works. We can change the law. Um, Bush Jr. tried to do it.
see he's trying to do this this shotgun scatter shot type of technique and
Nope.
different things.
You
Take for
read the
instance,
law, dude. You
take for
read
instance.
the law.
Okay, okay, let's just take it step by step then. He just stated things like gangs. Okay, let's say if a person is in, I don't know, Colombia, when they got to Mexico, the gang is no longer a threat to them. If they were in Venezuela and they went to Brazil, the gang is no longer a threat to them. If they were in Colombia and they went to Ecuador, as they probably did as they were marching through, their government was no longer a threat to them. They could have stayed right there. So this whole idea about, oh man, there's a multitude of reasons and blah blah. No, it's not. It's financial gain.
So for me, I think, I think most of these migrants are economic migrants looking for better opportunities, and I don't think there's anything wrong with people looking for better opportunities, right? I think people should take their chances. I think if people know that it's open season to come into the US, why the hell not? But I also think that government has responsibility to protect its borders and to make sure that unvetted people don't come in. If people are seeking asylum, I think any responsible government should be able to hear their case and offer protection to them. But it just doesn't seem so clear to me that that's what's happening here. It's not
Can I
clear to
answer
me.
this right quick?
Yeah.
Asylum seekers, the asylum, the way asylum works isn't economic oppression. It is like, can you return to your country and be safe? Okay, it really doesn't have much to do with economics. It's
Of course, I know. I know. I'm
so
just
there's no
saying.
such thing. Most the people who want to do economics are Mexicans. They come here, they're migrant workers, they're fruit pickers, etc. The people coming from Haiti, the people coming from Venezuela, it's not economic asylum. Venezuela's a hugely dangerous place to certain people. Haiti, I don't even need to talk about it. America has ruined the country. And it's not just America, by the way. I understand this. People seeking asylum are not wanting to fatten their paycheck. And if
Well,
there is a loophole in the law, we have had chances to do immigration reform and rewrite how we do asylum. And
so
it has literally the can has been kicked down the road for decades.
so if I get you correctly, you're saying that what's currently happening is in accordance with US law. People just
If you're seeking asylum, yes,
people jumping the border wall, scaling through the barbed wires
there
and all
is
that.
no border wall. It's partial. They can walk around the
Yeah,
end of where
why
they
is there a
start
border
building it.
wall, Stanley?
But
Why is
let
there
me,
one?
because Trump can't finish whatever he starts.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, yes, I think that's apparent. Um, Bottom line, Charles, is what I'm saying is the how we grant asylum can be changed. And I'm certainly going to admit that, some dude who's like 17 years old is going to abuse. He's just going to go, I want asylum. He can make up an answer. I'm not saying the law can't be abused, But that's where the immigration reform comes in. We could have changed how asylum works decades ago. So what's been going on? I see Charles has lost connection. I guess he'll be back.
Yeah, this is weird. The whole idea about people trying to say that this has to do with asylum is just ridiculous, and it's
Well, I'm not going to
you have
disagree. I mean, the
you
law is
have
being
people
abused. I agree with
you
you
have
there.
people that are seeing illegal actions take place, and they just don't have the guts to pull the trigger and to stop it from happening, because they know
Yes,
that at
agree
the
with
end of the
that.
day it is going to serve them politically when they're able to get these people to vote on their behalf.
You know what? I actually agree with you on that.
SKC, but
Which
that's
I
a
said from the very beginning.
don't you think that's a
No,
gamble?
you're wrong. You're wrong. You're right technically, but would you admit that the U.S. has had opportunities to close those loopholes?
I don't care about any of that. I'm dealing in the
Okay,
right
well,
world
not
right now.
caring doesn't make you right, and it
That
doesn't make me
spilled
wrong. We
milk.
should close the
The
loopholes. Would you agree with that?
the ability to understand when something is illegal or not
It's
is at
not
the center.
illegal to seek asylum.
Okay. See, and this is where the BS happens in these conversations. People will make it seem as though that's the conversation that you're delving into when this stuff comes up. It has nothing to do with that. Even if you wanted to seek quote unquote asylum, there's a legal way of doing it. Crossing a
Yes,
river
saying I want
and jumping through a
asylum.
border,
That's
and then
literally how the law works. If you
okay, and then
cross the border
no,
and
no,
you
you don't.
say I'm
No,
seeking asylum, all bets
right,
are off.
right. And could you let me
A
finish?
drug lord
Could you
and
let me
say I'm
finish?
seeking asylum.
Could you let me
Stanley, let him
finish?
finish.
How that
Go
was
ahead.
done before the guy that's in 1600 Washington right now is they would have a stay in Mexico. You could come to the border and you would say, "Hey, I'm trying to seek asylum," and then they have a
Uh-huh.
deal with Mexico of, okay, well, while we're doing all the vetting and all that other stuff, you can stay in Mexico and until we get everything done on our end. That was the deal that was in place. But the guy that's in there right now destroyed that deal and then
Disagree.
didn't have anything in place in order to process any of those people.
Dude, I don't even know where to go from your
I
point.
So
know
I
because
think
it was very easy and basic, but
No,
you just didn't
I'm
want to
sorry.
go with
Stay in Mexico. Stay in
Mexico was
Mexico
getting a
did
little bit
not.
Mexico was getting a little bit of a monetary throwback for having for helping out in that regards of, hey, you stay there for a little while this is getting done, and everybody was scratching each other's back
You
until
know what,
the guy that's there destroyed
uh,
that deal, and then he had
dude?
nothing in place in order to process all those people. That was stupid,
Well,
so
and people just don't want to
my
acknowledge that.
response is you are living in a Fox News world. The reality is, stay in Mexico didn't fix the problem. It just kicked the can down the road. And if I
okay.
really want to be,
If it just kicked the can down the
if I
road,
really want to be mean,
if it just kicked the can down the road, then
it
why is
did.
Eric Adams talking about the New York
No,
is never
you
going to
are
be the same now?
great point. Excellent
Huh?
point.
Huh?
No,
Because
no, no. Let me
it
finish.
was in
I'm
place
agreeing
before
with you.
then. It was
I
in
am
place
agreeing
before
with you.
then, and then when it's destroyed, now Eric Adams and people
Dude,
in
you were
Chicago are
talking.
crying,
Now
talking
you're
about,
talking. Well,
oh,
wait.
what has happened now? What has happened?
All I
Oh, so
my
I guess they
answer,
did. I guess that stay in Mexico was doing something right.
my answer is that stay in Mexico was not a permanent fix. Now, was it? Because Trump didn't stay in office. Again, my point is it was a stopgap as long as Trump was in office, but he's not in office. The
Right.
policy changed.
Right.
And
And what did the policy?
you can
What did it
talk about,
change to? What did
dude,
it change to?
you let me finish, please. You can talk about who's in office now versus who was in office 3 years ago. My point is that it was a stopgap. No one has sought a permanent solution. Not Trump,
Okay. Well,
not
which one is
Biden.
better?
No
Okay. Well, which
one
one is
has.
better?
Please let me finish.
Which one would you prefer?
Please let me
How it
finish.
was or
I
how it is
don't
now?
care about the politics of it. My point, stay in Mexico was not a permanent fix. Would you agree to that?
How would you? What would you prefer
Because I don't care.
for that to
See,
be
you're doing a
in place
Larry
or not?
Elder now. You're doing a Larry Elder. I prefer a permanent fix. Did Trump provide it?
Okay, so I think
And this is what I'm talking about, Charles. So people that want to live and try to create a utopia versus the people that
What?
want to deal in reality.
so
The reality
let's
is that there was no perfect solution. You either had two choices that were at bay: the old way, or the way that it's being done now. When the old way was there, you didn't have
What was
people
the old way?
stay in Mexico. When you had
Okay,
that in place, you didn't have.
that was
Okay,
just
could you
plugging
just
a
let me
hole in
finish?
the tire.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. But while that was there, you didn't have people in New York crying.
And you know what? That is my whole point, SKC. While it was there, Trump was the plug in the hole. And you know what? Trump got his, you know what, voted out of office.
Okay, so
Therefore,
why?
stay in
Okay,
Mexico. Therefore,
so
so why
remain
didn't
in
the person?
so
Mexico
so
So
was
then,
guys,
why
not
didn't the
a
next person have?
solution.
hey,
It
So
was a
then, why didn't the
solution.
next person have
I'm
something
muting
that was
everybody
staying in
now.
place?
So now, final question to SKC on this before we move on to the next topic. SKC, you think that the this is a political gimmick to get votes by the Democrats? I think that most of these people from other parts of the world that are trying to come into the US, I think most of them would be much more conservative leaning. So isn't it a gamble on the part of Democrats to assume that just because they let them in, that these people are going to vote for them anyway?
No, because they are going to pull on heartstrings. They're going to be talking about things like give you things for free, getting you set up, giving just basically opening the pocketbook of everyone else that's already here. And when that's the case, it's like that's not a gamble at all. It's a given of what they're going to go with.
Interesting. Okay, good. So I think we're done with this topic. Let's go over to ChatGPT. And by ChatGPT, I mean Vivek Ramaswamy. So Vivek has proposed to invade Mexico if Mexico refuses to fix certain problems. I want to ask both of you, first of all, what's your overall impression of Vivek, and what do you think about that particular policy of his to just, that's not the only quote unquote policy of his that's out there. What do you think about, just invading another country because you think they're not doing a good job?
You go first, SKC.
I don't see why not.
Interesting. Okay, so let's hear your thoughts.
And I'll also throw in addition to that, I would say Canada as well.
Invade Canada as well.
Invade Canada?
Did I stutter?
Oh, wow. Why would we invade Canada?
Just go ahead and it's just unify North America as one.
Oh wow. Well, you know what? Let's save that for Charles. I don't even know. Unify North America?
Yeah.
Well, what if the Canadians don't want to?
Then how does the old stating go? Tough titmouse.
And you've been in the military, right? You were in the military, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Just okay. Well, that answers a lot of questions. So, how's your show doing? You never did invite me back on it.
Say what?
You never did invite me back on your show.
Oh, I really haven't been doing long form. I've been working, doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I actually enjoyed bantering back and forth with you on your show. Your audience is lively.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to me because I'm looking at some of the comments in the chat and so forth, and I get where people can do this whole thing of like, oh my god, that's just so far out there and such and such. Okay, but giving $113 billion to Ukraine, that's not far out there.
It's a well,
like,
depends.
like,
Well, I mean,
opening up the
let's put it
opening up the
let's
southern
put it
border
this way.
is not
Do
far
you
out there.
think? Do you? Well, let me ask you a
Let,
question. You
letting
don't think
letting
you?
letting
Well,
DAs in major cities just allow criminals to get out over and over and over like
um,
it's just a turnstile. That's not far out there.
well,
Okay.
wait. Are we
Well,
talking
what I have to
Ukraine or
say
New
is
York
far out
City?
there. Okay.
Are we talking Ukraine or New York City?
All of it. All of those policies have been just completely far out there. So it's like the weird thing to me is like when people have these ideas about certain things, like things that are happening in real time right now, and then other people come in and they say, you know what, this is going to have to take some dramatic action in order to cause a rebalance. Then they want to say, oh my goodness, this is preposterous. It's like, well, dude, you're the one that's been on dialysis and now you're uh eating candy every day. Of course we're gonna take your legs. Both of them? Yes. And you should be grateful that that's all we're taking.
Well, let me ask you a question now. Speaking of the way you're approaching, um, your point about yes, you've been eating candy and you're diabetic. Of course, we're going to take your legs. Um, should taking legs be the last resort?
Um
Maybe controlling the diet
no,
could be a better
that's
way
been
to
done.
approach.
That's been done, already done. It's already, the gangrene is already set in. And that's what a lot of people don't
But
even
see,
understand about all the stuff that's going
I don't
on and
think
like,
what you're describing as far as the southern border and Ukraine, I don't think the gangrene is set in. I think we're
yeah,
fighting the infection.
I know.
So I don't know. You know me. I'm a lot more. Let's sit back and think about it. What's the best way to approach? And I understand your point. I mean, having experience in the service, yeah, sometimes you just have to strike and be done with it and accept the consequences. It's better to make a decision than to, it's better to make a bad decision sometimes than no decision because no decision is automatically bad. I don't see that with certain topics like Ukraine and the southern border. I think we still
Oh,
have time to think about it.
oh, okay. Well, ask New Yorkers that. Not
You
at
know what?
not at 5%
Eric
of their
Adams,
budget to
Eric Adams is not New York. He's the mayor, but most people in New York, hell, about a third of New York is immigrants.
okay. And
You didn't
yet the
know this?
people and yet the individuals there are stating, "Hey, NYC, that's your problem. Don't bring your
You
problem
know
to us."
what? How do you know most are doing it? Have they held a vote?
That's what the people are stating.
No. Are most people? Some people, sure. There, some people are. No, 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 no.
Surrounding
Some
cities
people
and
are the
counties,
people, but is it a
surrounding
large
cities,
number of people or a couple
sur-
people? There are
surrounding
two people.
okay,
Are
okay.
this two people or
Are you
people?
okay? Never mind. Never mind.
Two people are people. 30 million people are people. When you say people, that's rather vague.
I didn't say people. I said
Oh, I
surrounding
thought you
cities and
did. You
counties
said
have
the
had
people.
surrounding cities and counties have had those town hall discussions,
Okay,
and they
well,
have
Eric
stated that
Adams
they do
isn't
not.
the mayor of
Oh,
surrounding
oh, oh,
cities.
okay, could you let me finish?
Yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and let you be wrong. Trying to head you
Surrounding
off at the pass.
surrounding cities and counties have already had those conversations. Their reply
With
to
whom?
NYC is don't send your problem to us. We don't want them.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Surrounding cities of New York City?
Am I speaking another language, chat?
No, literally. You know what? Surrounding cities of New York City, a lot of them aren't even in the same state. Eric Adams isn't the mayor of Connecticut or New Jersey or Pennsylvania.
Okay. Maybe I need to slow this down for you.
Yeah, you certainly do, so
Okay. See,
you can understand.
there's this thing.
Slow it
There's this
down,
thing.
slow it
Okay,
down, so
let me
you
slow it down.
understand it.
Let me slow it down for you. See, there's this
Please
thing
do.
called the city of New York, and there's this thing called the state of New York. And
Uh-huh.
although
And
the
the
city of New
surrounding
York
cities are all in New
and
York State.
although the city of New York is very populous, there are other cities and counties that are inside of New York State. Now, New York State has a governor, Stanley, and a lot of the cities and counties outside of New York City have reported to the governor, Stanley, that they do not want New York City's problems.
But how,
The
see,
people
that's
have
a,
spoken.
okay, but New York City, okay, you know what? You don't read books, do you?
No, I eat them.
You know what? And you shit them out too.
Yeah, it makes me feel good.
It's roughage. You'll have a good bowel movement if you eat the books you should be reading.
Yeah, it helps with fiber.
Dude, you know what? Whatever gets the shit out of your system.
Wood does the body good.
You know what? You can't eat your head.
If you try hard enough.
Well, you're certainly trying. I give you that credit.
I'm just following after the current administration.
No, don't be coming and telling me what you're following. You are following um, the surrounding cities of New York. Um, the ones north of New York, what they call upstate, don't have a problem with New York City. The ones south of New York are in New Jersey and not in New York State. The ones to the east of New York
The
are
other
in New
cities
Jersey, and you know what?
the
The
other cities
problem, they are.
the other cities and counties in New York
Name me a
who
county.
who
Name me a
who
county in New York.
who uh
Name me one county in New
who Eric
York.
Adams has
Name me
tried to
one
okay
county
Why
in
don't
New
why don't
York.
you why don't you read? Why don't you read and
Dude,
understand the
dude,
difference
I
between
wouldn't ask you a
the
question I
governor?
didn't already know the answer to.
Okay, so why are the governor and the
Name
mayor
me one
at
county or
odds then?
surrounding city
Why are the governor
that is
and mayor at
affected.
odds?
Name me one county or
Never mind.
city that is affected by New York City's quote problem. One county, one
Did I
city.
ever say that there was?
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. You're not
Oh,
listening to
you
me.
didn't say that the surrounding cities don't want to tolerate New York City's problems. You didn't say that?
I stated Eric Adams has tried to ship
Oh, Jesus
different
Christ. You
immigrants
you
to
you're
different
doing a
to
Larry Elder on me.
okay, bro. All right.
Eric Adams is the mayor of the five boroughs of New York. He does not control the cities and counties surrounding New York. So why are you even mentioning Eric Adams? Name me one city that's affected. Well, Nan has a question. Are you looking at the chat? SKC? Mighty silent now. Oops.
StreamYard keeps messing me up. We're still here.
I don't think, is
Anan,
it really StreamYard? Because, I mean, when you drop out, we can still do StreamYard and I still see
yeah,
people can hear in the chat.
that's the funny thing. I don't know. I don't know.
Are
It's
you
not
on
my
your
network.
phone or your laptop?
My phone. I'm on my phone.
Try your laptop.
Same thing, same issue.
Oh, okay.
I tried connecting to my laptop, same issue. But
Well,
anyhow,
Anon wants to hop on. Can you
yeah,
do
he
that?
wants to, but I can't. He's not properly connected, so I can't add him. So and I'm try again. Just go out and come in. Yeah.
Okay. Well, SKC and I are fighting, and I will shut up and let S.
No,
I will let S. I will let
we're not
SKC
fighting.
talk. My own. Well, I mean rhetorically. I don't mean like.
So
Not even
I hope we're
rhetorically. We're
still
not fighting.
friends.
so
The point. My question to SKC is: name me one city or county that is outside of New York City.
May I just read a short news report?
That's my question. I hope
This
it
is
can be
from
answered,
this is
Mr. Elder.
okay. This is well known news right now. It's in from CNN itself. New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced Friday the city will ship willing migrants to other neighboring New York communities ahead of a surge of migrants expected to arrive in the city following the expiration of Title 42 next week. Adams said that the new program will provide up to 4 months of temporary shelter in nearby New York counties outside of New York City to single adult men
Mm-hmm.
seeking asylum who are already in the singles care. The program will launch.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what are we talking about here?
Well,
So it's
that
like I
wasn't
don't
my
even
question.
understand
I
why we
didn't
even.
ask you what Eric Adams said. I asked you to name, because I bet it's in the article. So now you know. Name me
No,
one
it's not. It's
city.
not. It's not.
Name
It's
me
not
one
about. It's
city
not about
or
knowing any.
county
Okay.
outside of New York City. One city, one county. Either or, one or the other, both.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not doing the quiz show thing.
I bet you aren't, Mr. Elder. Dude, my only suggestion is before you start proselytizing, know what you're talking about. where
I'm
you're
not
talking
proselytizing
about,
anything.
who you're talking about. Dude, it's disappointing to me because I know you're smart.
I'll just put in the chat what Rockland County Executive Ed Day said about that plan.
Oh,
So
good.
people,
You
so
have
people
found
can, so
you
people
looked
can
up
read for themselves.
surrounding counties.
I didn't
Rockland
look up
isn't
anything.
Rockland isn't that close to New York City.
Who said that? Who said that it was?
Well, you know what? You know what? You're absolutely right. You're just learning this stuff, so I have to be a little
I'm
fair
not. I'm not. I'm
about
not
you
just learning anything, Stanley.
learning stuff on the learning stuff on the fly is tough.
Oh, okay. All right. I will say this, Stanley. If you want to play the game of gotcha, go ahead. But the ideas, and it's kind of like
Dude,
it
the
goes with the whole thing.
conservative victimization does not work on me.
I'm
I
not a
don't
conservative.
do, I do not do, dude, you know what? If you're not a conservative, you should be. So if you are going to do the conservative mind trick of I'm
I'm not a conservative.
independent, I can, if you can do the conservative, well, if you're
So
independent,
call me what I am.
a fool.
Okay, go ahead with that then.
Well, wait, hold it. You asked me to call.
Okay,
You're
I'll accept that.
independent, right?
I'll accept that.
Well, you're gracious also.
Yeah, but I'm also one that you like to speak to and that you like invites
Oh,
from.
dude, yes, because I
So what
like
does that
you
say?
and I
So
think
what does
you're a
that say?
friend and it's fun bantering
What
back
does
and
that say
forth.
about your character?
It says that
If
I,
you like to be around fools?
well, wait, hold it. It says that I like, well, it can say two things. It could be I don't mind people who hold opposite views
No,
because
I
they're
think it may
fun.
lead to
Well, wait,
I think
hold
it may
it.
lead
You're
to the
in,
idea
dude.
that water speaks its own level.
I'm trying to give you all kinds of compliments, and I know you're shy. So
How can you compliment a fool?
you know what? Fools are useful.
That I am.
I would agree 100%, but I think you're a good person too. You're a fool for Trump. You know.
And whoever said that was my guy.
You know what? I just get the impression. I will admit that you've never professed your love for for Trump, but
So then you like to
you
assume.
defend people like Larry Elder. So sorry if I misunderstood.
You ever been in a court of law?
Yes.
Okay. Does the defense only defend who they like?
Um.
Would
Does
that
the
be
defense?
would that be
Well,
just?
hold on. That's a complicated question. No, but the defense doesn't have to do that. The
Yes,
defense,
if they want
the
to if they want
lawyer.
to serve
Hold on.
justice, yes.
The
If they want
lawyer
to
for the
serve justice,
defense,
yes.
the lawyer for the defense is not obligated to accept a case. Is he or she?
Uh, if they're in the case already, then they
No,
already have.
already. I'm talking at the outset. Now, here's the deal.
I already set the parameters. I
Lawyers,
said, yeah, I said
dude,
inside of a court of law.
you
I
have
already said
already lost
I
your
set the
argument.
parameters. I set the parameters. I said inside a
Um,
court of law.
in my
Negotiations are done outside
alteration,
of it.
the defense is must
Negotiations are
have,
done outside of a
dude.
court of law.
The lawyer does not have to accept the
The lawyer
case.
would not be
You
there
can
if he had
blather
not
on.
accepted.
No, the lawyer wouldn't
He
be
would
there
not
if
be
he.
there. The
Oh,
defense
you
would not
don't,
be there if
dude.
he had not
Do you
accepted.
under? The lawyer wouldn't be there if they didn't think they could win the case or be well compensated.
Which is why I
Lawyers aren't.
stated, which is why I
Lawyers
stated from the
aren't
outset,
moral.
which is why I stated from the outset, inside of a court of law. So all of the negotiations have
Okay,
already taken place.
and you know what?
That's
That
already set.
is,
You're
dude.
trying to fish out of it, and the idea
No,
of it is this: you don't
no. What I'm
defend,
trying to fish
you do
out
not
of
only
it is,
defend
do
people that you
you
like.
understand how the law works? Because it's apparent you don't.
It's not based upon defending
A
people that you like.
lawyer does not enter a courtroom with a defendant if he doesn't or she doesn't think that that person can be defended. Two things can affect it. Either they think they can win, or they are going to be well compensated even if they lose. That's the parts you don't understand about courtrooms.
Does any of that have to do with liking them?
It has everything to do with your scenario.
Does it
Pick
have
a better
anything to do with
pick a
liking them?
better scenario, dude.
No, you're the one that chose the scenario. You said defending
Dude,
people
I
like
did
so and
not
so.
bring up a defense. You brought it
Yes,
up.
you did. Yes, you did.
So I brought up the courtroom and the defense.
No, you said that I defend certain people that
Dude,
I like.
no. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you defend. Yeah, absolutely.
And I told you defending someone has nothing to do with whether you like them or not.
And I'm telling you, there is no way to defend a person unless you like them, you think you can win the case, or you are well compensated. So
And that
which of
and
the
there and
three,
there and there
which of them three are you
and that
defending?
and that's where you're off.
Okay.
Because your very
Is
first
there's a
one,
fourth,
it doesn't
is
make
what you're
any
telling me.
sense. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Mhm.
Liking someone has nothing to do with justice.
What the fuck are you? Okay, so
There could be
you don't.
someone that I dislike, but
Uh,
if they have stated something that is factual, serving justice would be defending that fact.
so
Period. It has
essentially,
nothing to
your
do
point.
with my feelings about them at
Fascinating.
all. And that tells me
Fascinating.
something about you, because
Oh
if
yeah,
it
it
has to
tells
be
you a
a
lot.
prerequisite to where you have to like the person in order to defend them, holy
No,
crap.
that you are actually misunderstanding my point. But you bring up a great point. You think that justice, but isn't justice subjective? You have to like the justice you're going to achieve, correct?
No.
So it just has to be blind justice. I'm going to defend Larry Elder because I
Have
think
you ever seen the
Larry
statue?
Elder needs
Have you
justice.
ever seen the statue that's inside of the courthouse?
I don't do statues, dude.
Holy
I
mackerel.
leave statues,
What are we talking
dude.
about?
Dude, I leave statues to you. Probably there's probably a Robert E. Lee statue in the
No,
courthouse
no.
you
You
go
see, you
to.
can you can try to go beyond the thought, but the symbolism
But
behind
see,
blind
that's
justice
what
is
you
sitting in
don't
the
do.
courtroom
You have
is
a
to show
thought and you don't think
impartiality.
beyond
And
your
if you
thought.
and if
You,
you and if you believe that impartiality does not serve justice,
dude,
something's wrong with you morally.
dude, if you actually think there is pure impartiality in justice, I suggest you go back to high school.
I will say this. So for the people who are listening in the chat, um, are there any of you that want the judge or the jury to be biased in any sort of judgment towards you? Would you prefer for that system to at least push towards the idea of executing blind justice?
Dude, there is no such thing as blind justice. That's what you don't seem to understand. There's literally no such thing in the real world outside of your chat GPT confusion.
Oh, okay. Wow, boy, we got some weirdos here, man. Good grief! I never thought that I would get to the point to where I would get this guy sitting up and stating and arguing against the use of the principle of partiality within a system of justice, as if that's something
Yes,
wrong.
you
Like,
got me
holy
arguing against,
crap!
but see, that's the whole thing.
It's
But
like the
see,
two are linked to each
the
other, and
dude,
what
the
they falter without each
idiocy,
other.
you, dude, we are 200, almost 250 years into the American project, and you don't know that justice isn't blind? How can you be a black man in America and think justice is impartial? Dude, do you ever read a history book?
Oh
When
my
has
goodness.
justice
And
been
here
absolutely,
here
name
we
me one
here we go.
case.
And here we
Dude,
go with the
dude,
weirdo stuff, dude.
here
It's
here
like
we
it's like
it
someone stating it's like some little kids trying to tell you,
no.
um, what do you
It
mean
is
don't
reality is
steal, dad?
calling you,
Uh well, no,
SKC.
we in this household, we no, I'm not gonna teach you to steal. Everybody steals, dad. When has there never
Yeah,
been a point in
I'm
history where
sure.
there hasn't been people that stealing? So does that mean that we try to shoot as to accept theft and stealing as a normal facet of how we should operate? No, we
Okay, now that you're done
we
with the
shoot for
fairy
perfection.
tales, let me
That's
tell
it.
you the reality of American history. Justice is not impartial, and if fools like you think it is, dude, you, uh, dude, MAGA needs you.
Straw man. Well, I'm gonna actually listen to the host. The host says to move on to the whole Larry Elder thing. But free zone, go ahead, man.
Wow. Well, first off, the beautiful thing about this is that it's only Friday. The weekend hasn't even really hit yet, and we already here. Um, we moving on to Larry. What did Larry do? He what? I missed the whole Larry thing.
From what I caught, he went on some a little small show. I think they have like 40K subscribers or something like that. And he gave them audience, and they disrespected him. They asked him a bunch of bad faith questions, and
Oh,
um and even
Oh God.
and even in their questioning, they wouldn't even play along with accepting certain conditions of their question. So say free zone. Say if I'm asking you a question and I'm saying, you know what, free zone, uh, I don't know, something crazy like, do you believe in a world where sodomy should just be accepted? And you're like, heck no, I don't believe in that. And they're like, okay, well, we can't go any further. But just for the
Yeah,
argument's sake,
they
just
talked about
accept it that is
sodomy.
normal, and
Dude,
and, and then and then I will answer your
Okay,
question.
guys, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, you good, bro.
Yeah.
We've moved on to
you
we on Larry Elder now.
Oh, good,
So
good.
I'm
well,
guessing.
and SKC is describing sodomy.
Well, I mean that was
Let
an
free zone finish
example,
up.
but
Let free zone
well,
finish up
no.
his point.
So I did miss the Larry Elder thing. I know he was on Breakfast Club, but I did not know he was on a smaller platform. I'm guessing he was defending fatherlessness, or not defending, but he was talking about fatherlessness,
Yeah, that's
and
all he talks about.
they gave him a hard time about it.
Yeah, so they asked him what has he done to combat fatherlessness, and he wouldn't answer the question until he asked them to acknowledge that the fatherlessness is a problem before he answers the question, and it just kept on going on like that, and I think they kicked him out also. So yeah,
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well,
But here,
If I
here's
could
the
add
deal.
one small caveat to
I
that.
think
Stanley, let him
that
finish his points. Stanley.
all
If I
right.
could add one small caveat to that before you go forth, free zone. Before that occurred, um, Larry Elder had been talking to them about all of the different, he went on his spiel about all of the different consequences of great numbers of fatherlessness, particularly in Black America. And the entire time, in the two hosts were stating that they don't believe that that's really a problem.
oh boy.
And
Okay.
so when they backdoored it and stated, okay, so what what have you done in order to fix the fatherlessness problem? He retorted and asked, okay, so you are conceding that it's a problem then?
And
And they
that's a
would say,
dumb
well, no,
retort.
it's not. I'm not stating that. I'm just stating what have you done to fix it. So he was stuck in a
And a kind of genjutsu, like a
yeah, because it's like
yeah.
Okay,
you want me to go in and describe a fix for something that you don't believe that is even a problem.
Okay, Stanley, do
let
you
me
have a different take
let me
on what
know when
happened?
I can reply.
Well, no. Before I say anything, because I'm trying to get a context of what actually happened. I know Larry Elder's talking points. I've heard them a bunch of times, but as far as like what actually happened, what's your take on what happened?
I didn't watch the whole video. I saw the part that Charles showed, and I
Okay.
think it's a fair question. Um, and here's the context: Larry Elder um, is running for president. So why is that not a fair question? What have you done? Now, he never let them get to what would you do? And quite frankly, I'm actually interested to know if let if the biggest problem in the black community is fatherlessness, and it is Larry's main talking point, why is that not a good question to ask?
I think I've heard what he wants to do, Larry Elder.
Okay, no. Oh, well, tell us, what does he want to do? Because maybe you can state it better than Larry got around to.
In the past, Larry Elder has said that he thinks that the general population, the upstanding men in America, need
Oh,
to volunteer to be surrogate fathers and mentor and bring up the young ones who don't have fathers. And
interesting.
so
Now, how would he pay
obviously
for that?
hold not pay for it. He wants it to be a volunteer thing. And he says, well, obviously if you're a grandfather or an uncle, an older brother, that's obvious, right? Family. But even for those who don't have families, you have to volunteer to be like a mentor and a father figure to your friends' kids. right? Or if they don't, if even if they're not a friend, but then you get what I'm saying. At the kids at your school, let's say your child goes to school and there's other kids in that school who don't have a father figure. Volunteer for that. And I know there's
It's
practicalities.
called Boys and Girls Clubs. It's been around for decades.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's very tough. It's a
That's
very
not
tough
my
problem.
point. Didn't say it was
Uh-huh.
easy. That solution is not Larry Elder specific. Boys and Girls Clubs, Denzel Washington was a spokesman. That attempt at a solution has been around for decades. Literally, since I was a kid, and I'm an old man.
Okay. Okay.
Actually,
So
one of his other solutions had to do with getting rid of a lot of or reforming the welfare system.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. I would also think that another solution would be to remove the incentives for for parents to want to get divorced so easily. Um,
Oh, you know
I
what?
would think. I don't know if he's mentioned that, but
He has free zone.
okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he has.
and
I'm
frankly,
gonna be real with
how
you
does
for
that benefit the children? Man, Larry, in conservatives in general have very good future plans, which are also past plans. There was no fault divorce, and it was hard to get divorced before no fault divorce.
Mhm.
Why is the future going to? They changed the law
Okay, can I
for a
ask you a
reason.
question,
Why?
Stanley? Can I?
No, let me finish. Why is it going to be better if the law was there to fix a problem? So taking away the law that fixed a problem is going to fix a problem? How does that work? We can all admit that education is worse, fatherlessness, which Larry brings up. How is a huge problem of fatherless homes and wayward children, how is divorce or getting rid of no fault divorce going to help a population that is hardly married in the first place? It's sheer stupidity. It is performance. If no one's married, how does changing divorce laws help?
So Stanley, none of these solutions solve everything. What they are is
No, they're
incremental
not
steps
solutions. That's
that
my
help
point.
a little
There are
bit.
not solutions in the first place. The solutions that are proposed aren't addressing the problem. The
What?
problem is here.
Uh-huh.
If no one's married, forcing no one can get divorced, how can you fix a
Well,
problem that's not there?
Stanley, you have a point, but let me ask you this question: is it wrong for Larry Elder, Barack Obama, and Michelle Obama to publicly tell people, when you're 23 and you're a guy and you have 7 kids with females and you married none of
Dude,
them, that is not acceptable. That's wrong. Can they
you
say
are
that?
absolutely right,
Do not
Ernan.
go and shoot.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. Do not go and
Th-
But
shoot your shot all over the
the
place.
problem is that's not what we're trying to fix.
there is
We're
a
trying,
solution to that,
we're,
Anna.
it is not a solution.
No, I'm saying that there is a solution to that.
Better than Larry Elder's.
But those who are weak hearted, they don't want to
Oh,
follow through with it.
dude, you know what? Weak hearted, weak
And I'm not I'm
hearted.
not I'm not that isn't a jab at you, Stanley. That's it's
No, no,
not
no, no.
it's
It's
not it's
not
not
a
a jab
jab
at
at
you.
all. If
What
it
what I'm
was a
saying
smart jab or a
okay,
jab, I could
what I'm
actually
saying
take
what
offense.
what I'm saying,
That's
Ant Man,
not
is
the
this.
problem.
what I'm saying, Anna, is this. So the problem that you're coming up with is you're stating that you have certain people that they're not married in the first place because
Oh,
and
Jesus
they're,
Christ.
and they're not going to get married and yet they're having children and all of that type of stuff, right? I'm
But
just trying to make sure that I got
the
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 summation of your issue.
single parent
Okay.
households
So
are already here.
so
How do
this is how
you
you
fix the present
okay.
problem,
If
not
you
the
let me
future problem?
if you let me continue,
Let
I
him
will
let him
tell
rock,
you how
Stan.
to
Let him
fix
rock.
the
You know
present day
what?
problem.
I'm out. This is bullshit. You're
Okay,
talking
yeah.
about future problems.
No,
The
I'm talking about
problem
right
is
now.
already here.
Okay, I'm talking about right now. You know how you fix that?
How is enacting get married
No,
fixing
I didn't say that.
already
I
broken
didn't say
families
that.
and single households?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Can I?
you don't say much at
Here's
all. You're
here's my
telling
answer.
me the
Here's my
future
answer.
problem. Future.
No, I'm not. I'm
God,
telling you the
this is
answer
so
to the solution
stupid.
of the problem right now.
Stanley, you gotta let people rock, bro. Nobody's
You
finishing
know what?
sentences because
It
you're
is
going
hard for
crazy.
me to let rocks rock.
Okay. Well, here's the solution to that, and what you do is this: people who wanted to do those things, they decided that they wanted to eat, sleep, fight, bust. They wanted to have children on their own. They wanted to do that outside of. I'm going to just use the whole marital
Stanley, you
thing.
have. Hello, sorry, Casey. Stanley, you have to let people finish their points. I've been listening in, and you're
You
not
know
letting
what?
people finish their
You know
points.
what? The Rock is finishing the point.
Go
Okay.
ahead, SKC, then Frizo.
So so the whole marital arrangement and so forth, that's people sign papers and those papers go to the state. Okay? So it's legally recognized before the state. Some people don't want to do those things, and which is fine. So the solution to that is because you do not want the state involved in your relationship, which is your right to do that. Then that also means that when things go wrong in your relationship, when the products of your relationship, even when that goes down to children, those things are not covered by the state. You can make the choice of operating outside of it if you want to. But for those who do, then they have the coverage of things like welfare, all of those other programs and so forth, because they are recognized by the state. That fixes it
Recognized by
right
the
now.
state is communism.
So SKC, what you're saying is that those who choose the marriage route will get a lot more social services and assistance than those who do not. Correct?
Right, because they have bought
Got
into the
it.
system.
Unconstitutional. You
But for those who
cannot
don't
do
want
that.
to, they don't have to.
Yeah. Oh, well, what about this,
Hmm.
SKC? Those who are married pay lower taxes than those who aren't.
Already
No.
happening.
I think that the ones that are married under that system, they should pay more because they're going to be able to get out more. The people who don't want to, that don't want to, they should be paying lower because they ain't gonna get anything.
What the,
They're not
Yeah,
gonna. It's like,
yeah.
oh,
do
you having
you?
this issue. You having this issue, this domestic issue, with your girlfriend or whatever. Okay, you got to fix it. The courts,
Yeah.
we don't have nothing to do with that. Not
Okay.
unless there's a murder or something involved where both of y'all go to
Oh
jail and we
Lord.
take the child.
SKC, I have an
That's it.
idea. This is a great idea thing. If you're married and you stay married and you have kids and all that, then you get universal health care paid for by the government. But if you're not married, you don't. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that could be a solution.
That
No.
that could
What? How do
that could be a
you?
trade-off.
What is the year? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Now.
So if you get married, you get universal health care. Is that your solution?
Yeah, you get health care
Okay, you know what?
and your
I could
children
go
get
for
it who
that.
are under.
So if you get married, and we don't care whether it's a good marriage or a bad marriage, you get universal health care.
Hey, you make it work.
Dude, I am for that. Count me in. I will
Oh,
vote
see,
for the
see, now you
policy.
now you
No, no, no,
for it.
no.
Now,
I
but
will
Sold
a
vote.
minute
American.
ago you were saying
I
all this
will
marriage
vote for
stuff.
that
Oh
politician.
no.
If you get married, you get universal health care. Yes, I'm all for that.
Wait till the Republican Party fight starts.
But then that would be a
Well,
concession
SKC is not a
because
Republican.
that would be a concession because at that point now you're stopping other issues from occurring.
What issues? It's all
I, uh,
marriage is the biggest issue.
So
yeah, I kind of
I'd like to
disagree
hear
with
Free
that.
Zone. I'd like to hear
So
Free Zone. Let's give Free Zone the floor.
okay,
Go
so
ahead, Free Zone.
dialing it back to Larry Elder. Um, I like what Larry Elder says, but I don't think that he understands politics at all, which is why they don't want him in there. Um, and I don't think politics can help. Like they can help, but politics can't solve marriage problems. Like that's a cultural issue, and I don't think
Right.
politics can
Yes,
can solve that issue. More importantly, politics has more incentives for divided families, which is why they'll never
yes,
actually do anything to put families back together. So it's not their job, and they actually benefit
yes.
when if they decide they benefit more from deciding not to do that and actually making things worse. And I don't think Larry
Less
Elder
government.
understands that. Yeah,
Less
I
government.
don't think he wants in on this thing, and solving social problems through government intervention is how we got here.
I
And
disagree
so
with that.
more government intervention is not going to help this particular issue. You got to fix the culture, man. And that's what
And
Larry Elder is not willing to do. And I do think that question that they asked him is valid, because if you're running as a politician
yes,
and your main thing is fatherlessness, then the obvious question would be, okay, if you're presenting me a problem, you're the politician. What are you going to do to solve it?
and
So
running
I
for
do think it's a
president.
valid question. Yeah, I do think it's a
And
valid
better
question, but
than
I don't
that,
want the government fixing people's relationships, because they can't. They can't. They absolutely.
they they can, but not without causing more damage.
That's
Um,
what I'm saying. I don't want the trade off of that, because they can do all of that stuff, right? And people will still, because their cultures are shit, they'll still find a way to skirt all of that.
but
They'll
see,
find a
that's
way,
a
man.
very interesting point you bring up. Uh,
Okay.
Government can't government can't fix culture either.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I think from
Okay.
Larry Elder's perspective, that's not a good point to run on
Well,
as a politician.
he's
I don't
doing
I
the
don't think
best he
so.
can.
Yeah, yeah. I think if he
And
understood politics more, then he would look at it differently. Because I was with Larry Elder until he started going off on the fact that they wouldn't let him in. Then he kind of turned into this whole, he turned into a whole lefty when they wouldn't let him up there for the debate and wouldn't let him run. He
well, let
leftied
me.
out, and
I
that.
I I
Go ahead.
don't. No, you go ahead, because I think you've got a. I think you're on point with the criticism of Larry Elder, but um, you're on point, dude. The only
Yeah,
thing, and
like
this is a joke. The biggest um thing that Larry Elder did for the problem of single parent kids in the black community was Larry never had black kids. So that's my joke. He is a non he's a non-factor in why any black person would take him seriously is amazing.
yeah, I think that he should
Dude
stop
is
trying to
in
help.
his 70s. He's had decades to make an impact in the black community. And I won't go on to soul, etc. He's had decades.
Yeah. Like I mean, I'm pretty sure he has done some stuff on the ground level, but when you start elevating it to to the realm of
Don't be
politics,
sure. Look him up. Google him. Read his books. He's had a radio show forever. Those episodes, his radio show is archived. Just listen to Larry Elder. He's a Rush Limbaugh wannabe.
he's a what?
Rush Limbaugh wannabe, and what folks like SKC don't understand is I have literally been into this politics thing since like 1990 when I got into the Navy. I'm not
You're an
whistling
original. You're an
Dixie.
OG.
I
You're
have
an OG.
Yeah, man.
I have followed politics forever, and I know clowns like Thomas Sowell and Larry Elder. They say what they need to say weekly. They probably don't do weekly paychecks, but um, if they really had something to say, I was impressed with Larry Elder that he talked to two young black kids. Now that's progress.
Yeah, nah. I mean, he's done some things, bro. I remember listening to him and people calling in to his station talking about the things he's done. So I wouldn't completely discount that. Like, I wouldn't say he hasn't done anything, but
Well, you don't
from a
have to.
political standpoint, I don't think there's much that he could do
I
running
don't
for
think there's
president
much
on
that
that.
he has done.
Okay.
He's never, Larry Elder is, dude lives in California. 5% black population. Larry Elder is
That's
not
what
a
he's supposed to be
force in
doing.
the black community.
That's
The
what he's
black
supposed to be doing.
community, the majority of the black community does not live in California. If he really wanted to do stuff,
N- n-
he could go
The
into a black church at any point. They would listen to him, but he hasn't.
I I do got to push back on the clown thing. Like when you say that Larry Elder is a clown, I mean politically speaking, they're all clowns. Like their goal in relation to the rest of the country by default makes them clowns because
And
they got to
you
break things up. Like they're not politicians aren't here. Politicians are here to sell you a problem, not necessarily solve it.
absolutely. And you
So
know what?
all of them are clowns. Like he
I am
doesn't
just
understand
going
that.
to,
He's walking into politics with
true.
a serious demeanor. I'm here to change things. When
And I'm going to
politics is all
accept
about
your,
politics is all about making it look like you're going to change things, but
you know
never
what?
actually doing it. And so I think he's in the
Agreed.
wrong area.
All I can say is I must accept your pushback because you were 100% right. If you are going to make a change in the black community, you'll be like SKC and be a good father. Um,
No, you won't. If you're
change,
like me,
Nah,
if you're like
no.
me, if you're like me, you are waiting for its downfall and actively supporting things that will ultimately burn it down to its
okay, well,
final
I'm
point.
not like you.
Popcorn
Sorry,
on deck, baby.
I tried. You will be a good black father.
Try,
Make sure
trying
that your
trying to
make
save it
sure that your
is a
children,
fool's errand.
what? Make sure what's a fool's errand?
I
Trying to
said
save the community.
trying to save the community is a fool's errand.
Well, people like you will die off and the community will continue.
Yeah,
So
continue to
I'm not
degrade.
overly worried about
So
people like you.
I'll when the
You'll be
when the
you
statue
will
of
be
Sexy
you
Red is
will
up
be
next,
you will
and
be
your kid is
70
bowing down
like
to it, I
Larry
love it.
Elder. You will be over 70 like Glenn Lowry. You will be 93 like 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 Thomas Sowell. You will die, and the smarter kids, black kids, will build a better community. We
Yeah,
wish you
sure,
well.
sure,
We
sure.
will
And
bring Meals
that's what's
on
been stated
Wheels.
since
We will
the
do Meals
'60s.
on Wheels for you, old man.
None necessary.
Yeah, and to Black Laptop Hustler, he made a decent point when he said that Larry wants to raise it to a national issue. He already stated he doesn't expect it to get far.
You know what?
Um,
Black Laptop has never been to the United States, so I pretty much
You,
discount any
a
thought
little
he
bit
has to say about the United States.
earlier,
I don't
Freezone,
think
when
he's
you
ever
got
met a
here.
black person.
A little bit
In
earlier, Freezone, when
America.
you got here.
No,
The conversation was on justice, and I was clowned for stating that justice should be impartial. It's like, oh my God, you actually believe that? You're living in America, and then he's gonna sit up here and try to tell me that the
dude.
black community is gonna rise to
is gonna rise
some type
again.
of
Yeah,
some
yeah,
type of Renaissance era or something.
No.
You're like,
Once again, once again,
yeah.
once again, your
you got these fools
stupidity
that can't even
actually is a
they got a
barrier
fourth
to you
grade reading
understanding
level,
what I'm
and he's
saying.
talking about the South
Dude,
will rise
he
again.
now
Um,
let me tell you what I actually meant, because
These kids are borderline retarded.
apparently I have to write it on a black
hello,
chalkboard in your
can anyone hear
kindergarten
me?
classroom. Justice in America is not impartial. Prove that it is.
All right. So I think I have to end this stream before StreamYard locks me out again. But good show. Almost 2 hours gone. So at this point in time, let's just hear final thoughts from everyone. Anan, SKC, Stanley, then we'll be done for the show. Yeah, talk on the border. You can talk on the Vivek Ramaswamy and his proposals to invade Mexico, and Larry Elder, and we'll be.
Well, I'll go first. I think SKC is a solid vote for Vivek Ramaswamy.
I don't support any of them. I do like to talk about a variety of different subject matters and so forth, and I think that all of them have various flaws. I do find it quite comical that when a glaring flaw i- is is just out there with the current guy. I mean, being not having issues being able to complete a sentence, falling down every couple of days and things, and it's like, and people can't speak on it honestly. It's like, okay, yeah, we're living in a clown world.
Yeah, so we'll probably
Yeah,
have to do
that made sense, Homer Simpson.
we'll probably have to do another show soon, maybe tomorrow or sometime soon. I'm very much interested. I missed the part where SKC was talking about invading Canada as well. So I'm very much interested in why the US would choose to invade Canada and Mexico. But good show, Stanley. Thank you for coming. SKC, thank you. Free
Good
Zone,
show,
Adan,
Charles.
Black Laptop Hustler, Harry, and everyone who came to the show. I'll catch you guys in another live stream. It's bye for now.